If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of a deal. But are you getting the deal and cash back? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love, savings, and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Target, Sephora, and even Expedia. Stack sales on top of cash back and feel what it's like to know you're maximizing the savings. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. It's the most rewarding way to shop. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go! Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR is presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. Oh, it's hitting use. It just took a little getting used to.
You feeling it though now on a Monday?
Slap in the face. Slap in the face. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Peter Burns in an hour, Scott Shanley in hour 3. Something I think we'll say pretty familiarly throughout this season. Tigers win, Saints lose. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, we got a ton to get to as we recap your football weekend. We will get to what happened in the Dome on Sunday here in just a smidge, but we'll start with Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. So LSU beats South Carolina 20-10. It was not the most aesthetically pleasing game that we will ever watch. However, there was a lot to build on. And something you commonly hear me say is that teams are allowed to improve. I say that in every sport. From the beginning of the season to the end, you're allowed to improve. You're allowed to get better. A season is an evolution. And I think we are starting to see some of that with LSU coming out of their open date. Most importantly, LSU ran the football. Not only did they run it well, 30 rushes, an average of 6 yards a carry, sack adjusted. Well, I guess there wasn't a sack. But the point is, there was an attempt, a consistent attempt to run the football. That's the biggest difference. Against Ole Miss, you threw it 34 times, you ran it 22 times. There was only 2 times the entire game in Oxford where you ran the ball on consecutive plays. There is no reality where you are going to have success running the football where you are not committed to trying to run the football. On Saturday, against South Carolina, LSU made a concerted attempt to run the ball, and they did so successfully. And when you were able to run the ball like LSU did, you are able to take pressure off of your passing game, and more importantly, take pressure off of your defense, which is what bit you in Oxford 2 weeks ago, because your defense was on the field for 84 snaps. What if you could move the ball, play a little more consistent? By the way, Ole Miss, worst run defense in the SEC. You didn't even try. On Saturday against South Carolina, they tried and they had success. Now, it wasn't all great. The turnovers are a problem. Juwan Johnson fumbled at the goal line. It took a touchdown away. Garrett Nussmeier threw an interception at the goal line. Certainly you would have gotten at least 3 there, possibly another touchdown. Running your 2-minute drill there at the end of the first half, Garrett Nussmeier throws another interception. That was there in South Carolina territory that it was down to around the 26-yard line. So you had a chance there to get points before the end of the first half there as well. So there were times in this game where you had every opportunity to blow this thing open and run South Carolina out the building, but you didn't do it because of your own self-inflicted wounds. I would say give South Carolina credit for knocking the ball out of Juwan Johnson's hand at the goal line. The 2 interceptions felt more like Garrett Nussmeier making bad decisions, bad reads, than Carolina making great plays. That game could have been easily a 34-10, 37-10 type game. You could have been in cruise control in the fourth quarter. Instead, you were in a dogfight trying to figure out a way to close that thing out. But the good news is you were balanced on offense and you had opportunities there. And I can look at those turnovers as an outlier, as an exception, not the rule. Few other things. How about Trey'Dez Green and Kyle Parker? Both of those dudes deserve a ton of credit for how they played and the way that it all played out Saturday night. Trey'Dez Green, 11 targets, 8 catches on his 11 targets. Yes, absolutely. Throw it 11 times to the 6'7" guy who is a total mismatch on the field, not just a jump ball guy in the red zone. Yes, throw it to Trey'Dez Green. The thing that I think is also very important about Trey'Dez Green in this ballgame, not only was he your highest graded player on PFF, not only because of his 8 catches and 119 yards and a score, his run blocking grade was a 61, his pass blocking grade was a 64. Those are season highs for Trey'Dez Green, and this is why that matters. When you look at his snap counts on the season, he played 39 snaps against Clemson, 32 snaps against Louisiana Tech, 30 snaps against Ole Miss, 52 snaps against South Carolina. What's different? They made a commitment to saying, you're not coming off the field. LSU ran 66 plays. Trey'Dez Green was on the field for 52 of them. Yeah, he's a freak show. He's a mismatch. Don't take him off the field, and then you're not predictable by personnel. You can do that when he catches 8 of his 11 targets, and his run and pass blocking grades are as good as they were. Outstanding. I'd say the same for Kyle Parker. Remember, Kyle Parker last year when Chris Hilton got hurt, he was the guy who got the first opportunity at that X position. So, and then, of course, he had the hand injury. He had a beautiful touchdown catch, remember, against UCLA. Had the hand injury that cost him a chunk of last year. But they believe in Kyle Parker. And he may not be the flashy talker, sizzle wide receiver, but man, is he effective. He was your second highest graded player of the day by Pro Football Focus. And I think Kyle Parker's catch and run, the 43-yard touchdown, was the biggest play of the game. Remember, your turnovers didn't allow you to get distance in this game. Carolina gets a field goal to start the second half. They tie it at 10, and you come right back. 4-play drive, boom. Parker, 43-yard catch and run. And remember, the 43-yard catch and run came after Weston Davis's holding penalty, so that was a 1st and 20 when he had that catch and run for the touchdown. Huge play. The defense continues to be elite. But for the 72-yard touchdown run, you allowed 245 yards and 3 points. South Carolina, it has been a struggle offensively for them this year. You're a good defense. You needed to put them in a chokehold. You did. I thought that was fantastic. The 72-yarder, that's a bummer. You didn't have good run fits, and TaMarcus Cooley had a shot at making the tackle. He went high instead of low, bounced off of him, and unfortunately, it was a house call. That will cost you in another game. Thankfully, it didn't cost you in this game, and notably, it could cost you this week when you go to Vanderbilt, because the one thing Vanderbilt does really well is run the football and use misdirection and make you be gap disciplined. So we'll talk about that a lot as the week goes along. But aside from that, you were great. 5 sacks, 6 TFLs, an interception, 4 pass breakups, 7 quarterback hurries. You harassed Lenora Sellers the entire night. And because he is a physical freak, you had a hard time getting him on the ground. And that's a hat tip to Lenora Sellers for being a physical freak. But Blake Baker, his scheme affected Sellers throughout the entire night, and it really limited what South Carolina was able to do. We don't talk about it enough, but hat tip to special teams. Damian Ramos, 2 for 2 on field goals. Grant Chadwick averaged 55 yards per punt, including a 71-yarder. It wasn't all great. Aaron Burrell did kick one out of bounds. Xavier Thomas decided to run backwards on a punt return. It was down at the 1-yard line. But for the most part, you were really good in the third phase as well. Listen, we look at this team, and there's a few things that are very obvious. LSU's defense is going to give you a chance to win every game you play. We can all agree on that. Even as bad as it looked against Ole Miss, that was a 5-point game, and you had a shot. You had a shot. Garrett Nussmeier looked healthy. Can we all agree on that? They talked about having the chip in the football and the RPMs and the velocity and all that sort of stuff. Can we all agree that Nuss looked like Garrett Nussmeier? Good. Brian Kelly said they'd shut him down through the bye week. They did. He looks more like himself and continue to get better. And you showed a commitment to running the football. This LSU team is capable of beating any team on its schedule. Hear me. I'm not saying they're going to beat every team on their schedule. I said they are capable of beating any team on the schedule. Florida State, who it turns out ain't very good, beat Alabama. Oklahoma, who looked awesome, just lost to Texas, who got whipped at Florida, who's probably going to fire their coach. Texas A&M looks really good. But I'm going to tell you right now, LSU wins in Nashville this week. It is going to be a madhouse. Peak full-throat Tiger Stadium a week from Saturday. If undefeated top 5 Texas 8-4 comes to Baton Rouge against 7-1 top 10 LSU, brother, that's going to be 6:30 kickoff. Brother, you better believe that is going to be full-throat peak Tiger Stadium. I say it all the time. You could bemoan people leaving early in the third quarter against South Carolina. There is no better big game venue in all of sports in Tiger Stadium. And a week from Saturday will be a massive game if LSU goes and takes care of business this week against Vanderbilt. You're capable of beating any team remaining on your schedule, but you can't take anything for granted. It's a marathon. It's an evolution. Keep getting better offensively to match how good your defense is, and you're capable of finishing the season 10-2, finding yourself in the playoff, and you let the chips fall where they may. Again, if you don't want to predict that today, that's fine. There's a lot of warts that still need to be worked out. But after this weekend of college football, if you can't look at this LSU team and look at what just happened, Indiana goes to Oregon and wins. Penn State lost again. They fired their coach. You had 7 ranked teams lose this weekend. You had Michigan losing to an unranked USC. Look up and down college football. Parity is driving this sport right now, and you got a shot if you can keep improving offensively. You're at the halfway point. You're 5-1. Every one of your goals is right in front of you. So just keep improving. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers, of LSU, and of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, love telling you about our friends over at Mockler, great community partners at Mockler Beverage. They've been serving our community for 4 decades now. Always encourage you to check out Mockler on social media whenever they're going to be present at an event somewhere, a concert, a pop-up, an opportunity to go at a fundraiser. You'll see them everywhere. They were out at Tiger Stadium this past weekend as well. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, and the official beer of your New Orleans Saints. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows, Windows door siding. They do shutters as well, Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, the New Orleans Saints lose. They fall to 5-1 after dropping a decision Sunday in the Dome to the Patriots. What are our big takeaways? We're going to get to that as we continue. We will go around the SEC. Peter Burns in 45 minutes. Lot loaded, ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Man, I love telling you about Watermark Baton Rouge and Renaissance Baton Rouge, 2 amazing hotel properties. Watermark is downtown, Renaissance Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. Watermark just last week had their week-long centennial anniversary, celebrating 100 years of that building, the original Louisiana National Bank building, which now has been redesigned, maintaining so much of the historical significance of that building, but modernizing with so many amenities. It is gorgeous. It is Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel. It is Watermark Baton Rouge, and it is downtown on 3rd Street. If you have never been inside or stayed at Watermark Baton Rouge, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Maybe you live in Baton Rouge and you want a little staycation, do it. Maybe you want to hang out for, on a game day. LSU's going to play A&M in a couple weeks. Stay at Watermark. easy drive down Nicholson into campus. You could traverse around downtown, walk to all the bars. It's an awesome spot. Or just hang out there in the lobby bar at Watermark Baton Rouge. It is Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
Potentially leave enough time for the Saints to get it back, but now the Patriots threatening. May takes his shot down the field. It's Booty. Touchdown.
Our play style, I thought our guys played fast. They played physical. At the end of the day, we didn't take advantage of opportunities that were presented to us. And every game's going to have those opportunities, and you got to take advantage of them. And so, they won the turnover ratio. They won some of the situational stuff, and that's how this game was decided. And we didn't make enough plays, and got to find a way for myself to coach better, to put ourselves in better situations, to be more successful as a football team, because there's too much good and not enough in those little margins. And so, medically, I think we're okay. Nothing really drastic came out of the game, and so we just got to get better and keep moving.
Saints fall to the New England Patriots 25-19. They fall to 1-5 on the season. Another game in the Dome where New Orleans had opportunities. It was a competitive game, but as we all know, the margin of victory in the NFL, the margin for error is so slim that you can't let opportunities pass you by. And I'll tell you, the Saints remain competitive, but there are two things that are killing this team right now and preventing them from winning games. It's your defensive struggles early in games, and it is your complete and utter lack of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and that is killing this team. I want to be very clear. You are not losing games right now because of Spencer Rattler. I don't know that there is a large contingent of people arguing that you are, but Spencer Rattler isn't the reason you're losing. On Sunday, he was 20 of 26 for 227. He had a quarterback rating of 102.6. His PFF grade was a 93.2. That's the highest by any Saints player in any game this year who's played at least 15 snaps. He is playing efficient. He is protecting the football, and he is giving your playmakers opportunities to make plays. They are not obliging. And that is your biggest problem right now. I could hear an argument that Spencer Rattler isn't elevating the team. Okay, I could hear that. So as to say, if you were to take Patrick Mahomes and put him on this team, how much better is the offense? I don't know the answer to that. Or Josh Allen. Maybe you win a couple of the games that you've lost. I don't know. That could certainly be up for debate. I certainly think about years with Drew Brees, those back-to-back-to-back 7 and 9 seasons where your defense was really bad and you just had a void of playmakers. Well, you were 7 and 9 because you had a Hall of Fame quarterback who elevated you far beyond the win total that team should have had. Maybe Rattler isn't that guy that's going to elevate you right now, but he ain't the reason you're losing. No doubt. The reason you're losing primarily on offense, the reason that when I look at New Orleans and they're 25th in the NFL, 28th in the NFL, when I look at New Orleans and they're 28th in the NFL at 18 points per game, the reason is because you ain't got playmakers. The reason is because guys like Chris Olave, who you took in round 1, who fancy themselves as a number 1 wide receiver and a playmaker, can't make a freaking play. Oh, he's wide open, he'll catch it. Have him make a contested catch? Nope. There were 4 instances in this game where Chris Olave gagged. In the the second quarter, this play right here, Chris Olave down the right sideline, Rattler drops it in a bucket. Olave lets it go off his hands. They go show the replay, and the defensive back grazes Olave's bicep, causing the incompletion. Forgive me, I watched Odell Beckham catch a ball with 3 friggin' fingers with a defender all over it. You could tell me a defender grazing your bicep is cause not to make this catch? Kick rocks. Third quarter, 3rd and 17. Rattler evades a rush, throws the ball down the left sideline. Olave goes up, has it in his hands, comes down, can't hold on to it. Actually should have been a fumble. Make the catch. Later in the third quarter, Olave had a drop. In the fourth quarter, when you're trying to go down and potentially score a game-tying touchdown, Rattler evades the rush. Difficult play with pressure bearing down on him. Rattler evades the rush, throws one over the middle. It's high because he's off balance. Olave goes up, gets his hands on it, can't haul it in. Make a play. You want a contrast? Look at what Kayshon Boutte did on his 2 touchdowns. The first one, he's got Quincy Riley all over him. They're like fighting to pull the ball away from him going down to the ground. Touchdown. Later, he fights through contact to make the catch and gets into the end zone. Make a play. I'm watching the Niners against the Bucks, and I watch Baker Mayfield throw a ball down the middle of the field, and Tej Johnson extends and grabs a ball by the nose, the back nose of the football with his fingertips and brings it back into himself. Make a play. I wouldn't be this hard on Chris Olave if he was an undrafted rookie free agent. If this was Mason Tipton, I'd be like, all right, that's why you were a UDFA. Chris Olave was a first-round pick. You picked up the 5th-year option. You expect him to be a number 1. He ain't a number 1. He don't get open. He don't catch the ball. He doesn't make contested catches. He is a mid-NFL receiver. He's a guy that should be on a roster who will catch the ball and get open and make some plays for you, but he is not going to make the jaw-dropping plays that elevate an offense. And let's talk about Juwan Johnson. There's a guy that was an undrafted free agent. However, he has now earned his second contract. You have paid that man to be a playmaker in your offense. It is inexcusable that you're going for a winning score, potential winning score, and Juwan Johnson fumbles in the middle of the field, doing his best Jared Cook. It is so hard for me to sit here and try to criticize Spencer Rattler because of his win-loss record when the dudes around him that you're paying to be dudes are not. Kelvin Banks had a penalty that brought a big play back. It was the Devon Vele 23-yarder that would have put you down at the 5-yard line. Called back because of Kelvin Banks holding. You got behind the sticks because of a false start on your center, Eric McCoy, who's a great player, but these are the types of plays that guys you are counting on that you've paid to be impact players on your team are not making, and that's crushing. We talked about it leading up to the draft. One of the biggest needs they have was to go get a playmaking, impact, big-bodied wide receiver. They didn't do it, and you're feeling that right now because you don't have guys that can elevate your young quarterback. The other thing is defensively. The early struggles have been awful. Here's Ellen Moore after the game talking about the early struggles.
We're not starting fast enough from a defense perspective, and we got to play better. We got to have a sense of urgency to get out there and get ready to roll. That's a couple weeks in a row in that scenario, and so that's not the formula we want to be feeling like we're playing behind for a little while. And so, again, we got to take advantage of opportunities, and they come in all 4 quarters, and every moment is the same value from the first quarter all the way through the fourth quarter.
Do you realize this is 4 consecutive games? 4 consecutive games where the New Orleans Saints defense has allowed its opponent to score touchdowns on each of its first 2 drives? Seattle, Buffalo, the Giants, and New England. 4 straight games, you've allowed your opponent to get in the end zone on their first 2 drives. And your offense, which is void of playmakers, is now having to dig itself out of this hole that your defense puts it in early. Inexcusable. Defense has got to be able to get stops early. Offense has got to be able to finish drives, which is another issue. You settled for a 34 and a 38-yard field goal in this ballgame. When you get into the red zone, you've got to be able to score touchdowns, and this team is not very good at doing it. Now, in fairness, number 1, hat tip to Blake Grupe, because we've crushed him, deservedly so. 10 of his first 15 this season, he missed 5 kicks in 5 games. That's awful. He was 4 for 4. Made a couple from 50-plus. Good. I hope that continues. And defensively, after allowing 22 points in the first half, you allowed only 3 in the second half. So the defense did find a way to get stops in the second half. That was fine to see. You got to be better early in the game so your offense isn't playing from behind so much and the terms are being dictated to you throughout the course of the game. One more thing I hated to see were the young defensive backs struggle. The 3 lowest graded players on the entire team from Pro Football Focus, the 3 lowest graded players on the entire team, Quincy Riley, Jonas Sanker, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Your 3 young defensive backs were the 3 lowest graded players for the entire game. And I've pretty consistently said that I'm not so much concerned with wins and losses this year. I know what this season is, what this team is, and what they're going to be. So I'm not going to sit here and yell about the Saints losing games. What I hoped is I will yell about expensive veteran players like Chris Olave grabbing the throat and continuing to underperform their contract. I will be disappointed in young players that you use draft capital on that you're hoping can become cornerstones of the franchise not playing well. Sanker got burned deep. When you're a free safety, the one thing you can't let happen is a guy get behind you. 53-yard touchdown on the first possession of the game. They hit another 60-yarder in the game. They got called back because of a bogus penalty. But anyway, they had 2 gigantic pass plays called back because of bogus penalties. Quincy Riley was brutal, and Kool-Aid McKinstry continues to be brutal. And I know they gave him NFC Defensive Player of the Week last week, and I wonder if anybody watched the game. So he caught 2 punts that went as interceptions. So you give him Defensive Player of the Week. Did you watch his PI? Did you watch him get burned? Did you watch him get a big board in the end zone by the tight end from the Giants? Like, he ain't a good player right now. He is certainly, like Chris Olave, not a number 1. Kool-Aid is not a number 1 corner. He cannot handle an opponent's number 1 receiver. He cannot handle Stephon Diggs yesterday. He might be a good nickel today in the NFL, and he can improve. But as of right now, very disappointing by the young defensive backs that got taken to school by a second-year player in Drake May, who's a first-year starter. Well, he started, I guess, a little bit at the end of last year. A veteran in Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, who's trying to find his way professionally, and a non-existent running game from New England. And your secondary couldn't do a thing with him. Very disappointing yesterday. So the Saints are 1-5. They hit the road to take on the Bears. The Bears will be on a short week. They play tonight on Monday Night Football. See if the Saints can start faster defensively, finish some drives, and maybe can somebody make a freaking play. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. You need tires. Of course, you want to get the best tires at the cheapest price, so you go to Shaw Bills. They've been around since 1968. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Always encourage you to go to the website, as I just mentioned, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab at the top of the page. It's a little drop-down button, and then there's all promotions. So you can see every single promotion that they have going on right now at Shaw Bills on things like Firestone, Bridgestone, Michelin, BF Goodrich, all of the best tire brands in the world for the cheapest price possible. You get it one place at Shaw Bills, and of course, they'll treat you like family. So anything you need done, any service you need done on your vehicle, Shaw Bills can help you out. Go to ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, it is After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. We're going to knock out a quick break, go around the SEC. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you what we're keeping an eye on the football weekend. We come back on Monday and recap it. So we'll do what we learned here in about 15 minutes. We'll also get to our college football takeaways in hour number 3. And I do have thoughts on Penn State firing James Franklin and who might be next there in Happy Valley. We'll get to all of it today as we're here recapping a busy football weekend, and glad to have you hanging out on AFR.
AFR.
If you want to feel like your younger self, it's possible. Remember what it was like to wake up in the morning, be rip-roaring, ready to go, tons of energy? Remember what it was like to wake up and not be achy all the time? Remember what it was like to have a really strong libido? Remember what it was like to get into the gym, build muscle, burn fat, be energized when you got in the gym and actually have productive workouts? Remember what that was like? It's possible. It's hormone replacement therapy. I guarantee you know people who are on hormone therapy. I am. I've been for 9 years. It's amazing. It's life-changing. And the truth is, every single human, no matter who you are, as we age, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. At Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, they can safely, affordably supplement to get you to healthy levels so you feel better. And they have the lowest prices and never any contracts. No contracts. Give it a try. What do you have to lose? Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
Baron Anderson looked good. We'll continue to progress with him. Caden Durham had, a hip pointer, which was mild, but one that affected him a little bit. He'll be fine. Braylon Moore had a stinger, but under control. We took an MRI. It looked good. Paul Mabangar is making progress. We expect him to be available this week. And Nussmeier had a slight ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, but a medial, and we feel like he's going to be fine.
The Nussmeier thing was weird. The hit he took, where he started limped off the field and then went down, you kind of hear the crowd audibly groan when he went back down. He never went into the injury tent, but when they showed the replay of it, it was hard to see where the ankle got twisted up. But thankfully, nothing severe there. That all sounds good. The one that went unnoticed by many is that Bernard Gooden in the fourth quarter left the field. Like, he had taken off his shoulder pads, his shirt. I mean, he left the field just shirtless. Went into the locker room. It was weird because he kind of had his hand on his hip. So a lot of people initially thought it was a hip injury because of how he was walking off, but that's not the case, as Brian Kelly said on Monday.
Bruised collarbone. Very sore right now, but clean, no break. So this is a short-time thing, and one he'll have to manage the pain relative to how we go through the week.
I do think that's significant. Obviously, he's been your most explosive interior player. But remember, you're already down Gabe Relaford for the season. Jamari Butler suffered an ankle injury on Saturday. He did not return, but Kelly said the prognosis there was really good. But now you're potentially down Gooden. We'll see how it goes this week. I mean, that defensive line, which had been really veteran and really deep, the depth is now getting tested a little bit. So hopefully you can keep it together here with these guys and get to that second bye week before you head to November, where you've got Bama and Western Kentucky, Arkansas, and Oklahoma for that stretch run. So in any event, something to keep an eye on there with Bernard Gooden with the bruised collarbone, but thankfully not broken, because that would be really devastating if you had lost Gooden for any length of time. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Tilly and Joe Morales. From claim to cleanup, we can help with everything. Doesn't matter if it's a repair, a replacement, if it's residential, if it's your big commercial roof, industrial roof, we can help you with all of it, and we touch every point of the state of Louisiana. So no matter where you are in Louisiana, we'd love to help you out. You can always go to the website, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage. We'll get in touch. One of our inspectors will be out to the house. We'd love to give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Great time of year right now as the weather's getting nice to get that roof checked on. So let us come give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. If you can't remember the last time you had a roof inspection, it's probably time. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parish Construction and Roofing. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
Texas A&M! Mike Elko announced that running back Le'Veon Moss will be out for, quote, a significant period of time with an ankle injury. Moss left Saturday night's game against Florida early in the second quarter, was assisted off the field. It's devastating. Of course, Baton Rouge, a Struma product, who his season last year came to a premature end due to injury. So finished the night with 5 carries for 46 yards. We'll see how long Moss is out. Of course, the Aggies come to Baton Rouge a week from Saturday.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Jam Miller left the Alabama-Missouri game, and apparently he's going through the concussion protocol after taking a hit to the head in Saturday's win at Mizzou. Kalen DeBoer gave that update Monday to reporters. He led Alabama in rushing a year ago, despite missing the first 3 games of the season with a collarbone injury. He's leading Alabama in rushing this year as well. Redshirt freshman Kevin Riley filled in for him.
The Auburn Tigers.
Running back Damari Alston is no longer with the Auburn team. Hugh Freeze said, quote, he failed to meet the expectations and standards of our program. He won't be playing here anymore. Senior Alston had appeared in only 4 games for the Tigers this season, who are 3-3, had missed a pair of games with a shoulder injury.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart gave an update on Chauncey Bowens and Juan Gaston. Bowens, of course, is the leading rusher, their tailback. Had a pair of runs early in the second quarter, then didn't return until midway through the third quarter. Apparently it's a hamstring injury, but not expected to be significant, according to Smart. And then freshman Juan Gaston, the starting right tackle, left the game because of an ankle injury. that caused him not to finish 3 games already this season. He's going to give it a go on Monday, but they'll keep an eye on it.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Tony Morrell of the Big Spur was the first to report that South Carolina's offensive line coach, Lonnie Teasley, has been fired, and that Sean Elliott has been moved into that role as the new offensive line coach. Elliott's previous role was as tight ends coach. Again, Teasley's no longer on the staff. Elliott previously was the Gamecocks offensive line coach under Steve Spurrier from 2010 to 2015 and under Will Muschamp in 2016.
The Missouri Tigers.
And 3-star safety Carter Stewart has flipped his commitment from Utah to Mizzou. 3-star, had been committed to Utah since June 16th. He's the 17th commit of Missouri's 2026 class. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. It's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us. Remember, you can always, if you want to, you can email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. And remember, you can always get content for free at louisianasports.net. If you haven't checked it out, there's tons of good stuff up there. Otterlocks is already posted. Of course, Jimmy joins us at the end of every show. But if you want Otterlocks, he's already got them up right now over at louisianasports.net. It's right there under the latest stories if you want to grab it right now. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break. Come back. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you 3 things we're watching in the football weekend. We come back on Monday to talk about it. So we'll do that next on AFR.
AFR.
If you're a business owner and you want Q4 to be the most productive it can be, so you finish 2025 with a bang, you need the right people. That much we know. You got to have the right people. Who helps you find the right people? That's where Glow Resources comes in. They are not a temp staffing agency, so let's be clear about that up front. They are not a temp staffing agency. They're finding permanent solutions for you. Well, what sectors? Any. It literally doesn't matter. If it's skilled blue-collar labor that you need, they specialize in that. Crane operators, heavy machinery and heavy equipment operators, welders, pipe fitters, they can find skilled blue-collar labor for you. Maybe you need C-level management. They can help you there as well. Their professional placement division can find any type of office job for you. And it doesn't matter where your business is located or where they work. They can help you find employees anywhere for work done anywhere. So check them out online at glowresources.com. G-L-O, glowresources.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
Congratulations to Santa Maria quarterback Cooper Babin and Santa Maria female wrestler Michaela Byington, our Heart of the Game athletes for the month of September, presented by First American Bank and Trust. Both Cooper and Michaela have proven themselves as standout athletes, earning a $250 gift card and a custom plaque in recognition of their achievements. Don't forget, nominations are now open for the next High School Athlete of the Month. Submit yours today at 1045ESPN.com.
Yeah, that's really cool. If you want to nominate a high school athlete, both a boy and a girl, just go to 1045ESPN.com. Right on the flipper, you'll see the Heart of the Game. It doesn't matter what sport. Just go to 1045ESPN.com. You see it on the flipper. The Heart of the Game award is right there. It's really easy. You just the nominations are open for the month, and then are open for a week. Then the voting goes on, and then we'll announce the winner at the end of each month. So congrats to Cooper and who was the
Michaela Byington.
Michaela Byington. So congrats to Cooper and Michaela for their wins here this past month. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll get to Peter Burns in 15 minutes from right now. Talk about the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference. I mean, it just continues to be. The picture becomes clearer and clearer that the picture isn't clear. Texas, after losing to Florida, goes and beats Oklahoma. We're talking about with Dari on Friday. Whatever you expect in that game, it's probably going to happen to the inverse because that's just how it typically goes in that series. But it's just such a wide open race right now because there's just nothing that seems absolute in the SEC right now. So the 8 teams at the top half of the league that are all saying, why not me? You're right. Why not you? So keep plugging away. Okay, every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I, we give you 3 things we're keeping an eye on for the football weekend. We come back here, talk about it on Monday. We call it What We Learned. Let's do it.
We watched. Now, let's review.
All right, Matthew, Sean, Muso, start us off.
Yeah, no, that's not it either. But we'll start Red River Shootout, game you just mentioned, and we were keeping a close eye on this one. The line movement was crazy with John Mateer all week. Texas, the unranked team, ended up closing as the favorite, by the way. Got the win, shocker. They did it behind a really efficient day for Arch Manning and dominating defense. Told you, liked the under in that one, and boy, it cleared. But 166 for Arch, 34 on the ground, didn't turn the ball over. He was great. Mateer, 3 interceptions, man. Some really poor decisions. He says the thumb didn't bother him. We'll keep an eye on that, though, as the season goes along for Oklahoma, and he continues to recover.
I was watching Ohio State and Illinois. Ohio State knocks off Illinois 34-16. Julian Sayin threw for 166 and 2 touchdowns. Running back C.J. Donaldson ran for 2 scores as well. The Ohio State defense forced 3 turnovers that resulted in 21 points. Ohio State has now won 10 straight against Illinois.
Ooh. My first one was actually hasn't happened yet. It was Monday Night Football with the Bears and the Commanders. A matchup of the first and second overall picks from a year ago with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. They met last year. You might remember the Commanders won on the 52-yard Hail Mary. Big opportunity here for the Commanders with Jaden Daniels back healthy. Now they're at 3-2. The Bears at 2-2, trying to get above 500. Saints go to Chicago next week, so the Bears will be at home, but on a short week. But we'll keep an eye on Monday Night Football tonight.
We're looking at the Ravens, see if they could knock off the Rams. Boy, could they not. 17-3, they were losers. 3 turnovers. Derrick Henry didn't fumble the ball, so I guess that's a positive. But that was a big one for the Ravens, man. They fall to 1-5. They still might not get Lamar Jackson back in Week 7. AFC North's not good, but they feel pretty dead right now.
I was watching Joe Flacco's debut with the Bengals. So Joe Flacco was the Browns starting quarterback 3 weeks ago when they beat the Packers 13-10. So could he beat the Packers this time around? No,
he didn't.
40-year-old Joe Flacco, 29-45.
They had an early lead.
They did.
But it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
He threw for 2 touchdowns. The Bengals now lost 4 straight.
I was keeping an eye on Kansas City because the Chefs lost a heartbreaker to Jacksonville, where Trevor Lawrence fell down, got up and scored because no one bothered to touch him. And that dropped the Chefs below 500. So could they finally creep back to 500? Sunday Night Football at home against Detroit, despite a baffling call at the start of the game where it looked like Jared Goff had scored a touchdown and they took it off the board for some reason. Kansas City ends up outpacing the Lions. They win it 30-17. So the Chefs are now 3-3, climbing out of their early hole, and they look more, as they get healthier and healthier, they look more and more like the Chefs.
We can't do this segment every week without mentioning the Big 12, so I'll go ahead and do that. Texas Tech and Kansas. Thought it was a sneaky game. Man, the first half delivered 21-7.
I thought that was college football takeaways where we mentioned Big 12.
Well, we mention them all the time because it's just wacky and fun,
yeah,
the Big 12.
It is.
21-17 at the break. But then, man, that Texas Tech defense really just put the clamps on Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks, outscoring them 21-0 behind good defense and 372 yards rushing. Cameron Dickey with 263 on his own. The Red Raiders, man, they keep on rolling. Looks like money well spent so far.
And I was watching Seahawks and Jaguars. The Seahawks win 20-12. Sam Darnold threw for 295 and 2 touchdowns. Justin Smith-Njigba continues to have a great season. He had 8 catches for 162 and a score. The Jaguars take a step back after winning that thriller against Kansas City. Both teams now 4-2.
And finally, I was keeping an eye on a top 10 matchup nobody would have ever seen coming. Number 7, Indiana at number 3, Oregon. And the Hoosiers got it done 30-20. And actually, probably shouldn't have even been that close because they throw a late pick 6 that tied the ball game. And then they came back and outscored Oregon by 10 the rest of the way. So no fluke there with the Hoosiers, who very, very much look like they are a for really, really real contender. You don't go to Autzen and win by double digits without being for real, and it certainly appears as though the Hoosiers are. What a win for Kurt Cignetti. Now, can they keep him, or does he go to Penn State? The plot thickens. All right, that's what we learned from the football weekend. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. You can always get online and check them out at SouthPointVW.com. Right now, They have a $2,000 conquest bonus. That's for current owners and lessees of select vehicles who lease through Volkswagen Financial Services. So you can check out more of the inventory there at southpointvw.com. It's right there on the homepage at southpointvw.com. You can view the inventory. Remember, every year, make, model, body, style, price, you can shop it right there at southpointvw.com. New and certified, pre-owned. So check them out there. Hey, look, if you want to buy a pre-owned vehicle, great. They have tons of inventory, and not just Volkswagens. Yes, they do have Volkswagens with the extended warranty, but they got all different makes and models. Like there's a 2020 Nissan Pathfinder, a 22 Toyota Camry. There's a 2020 Subaru Outback, a 2014 Nissan Pathfinder. So tons of different options at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you aboard with us. Peter Burns in about 6 minutes from right now. We'll have Scott Shanley coming up in hour number 3. I do want to talk to Shanley about, in particular, about the position he played. Not sure if you noticed, but Ross Jackson's got a really good piece up right now about this. It's something that probably went unseen by many, but Pete Werner saw his reps at linebacker Sunday take a little bit of a ding as they got both Isaiah Stallbird and Danny Stutzman reps at linebacker. Not significant reps, but when you combine the two, they went for more than 20 snaps, and we saw Pete Werner have his lowest snap count since 2023. So are we starting to see a little bit of a changing of the guard there? I mean, obviously New Orleans is going to have to make a decision on Pete Werner and his long-term future with the team and the investment that they made draft-wise in Danny Stutzman and a young guy in Isaiah Stallbird who continues to make the most of his opportunity. So we'll talk about that with Scott Shanley coming up in hour 3. Sports Center is next.
AFR.
Hey, we're brought to you by Arco Power Systems. And look, we're still in the middle of hurricane season. I know it doesn't feel like it. It's been a quiet season. Thank goodness for that. But I was watching the weather this morning. They were showing all the activity in the tropics, and thankfully a lot of storm systems moving farther out into the Atlantic. But it's a good reminder that at any point a storm could pop up, even during the winter months when we have ice and snowstorms from time to time, even in South Louisiana. Arco Power Systems is who you want to call. Now, listen, even if you're listening or watching outside of Baton Rouge, I know there's a lot of people. If you're on our affiliates in Lafayette, Lake Charles, Alexandria, if you're listening or watching online anywhere in the state or in Texas, look, Arco Power Systems goes as far. They have brick and mortar office in San Antonio, Houston, Austin, Dallas, Little Rock, east to Mobile. The bottom line is, if you need industrial generator power for your business, you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com.